This episode is about how the rapper J. Cole seems to know more about meditation than he thinks he does. You'll hear how he describes meditation, what makes it different than prayer, and a powerful metaphor from the Zen teacher Angel Kyodo Williams.
We must also realize that the problems of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a radical redistribution of political and economic power.
While there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free.
Hey there, I'm Jeremy Moeller, a writer and meditation teacher, and welcome to another episode of Meditation for the Masses. I'm here to take meditation out of faraway Buddhist monasteries, expensive retreat centers, and big corporations like Google, and bring it to the things that matter the most to the lives of the vast majority of us: work, relationships, and especially politics. I like to call it mindfulness for everyone but the top 1%. All right, let's get to it. The rapper J. Cole. You might have heard of him. He's made 5 top 10 hit songs. But if not, he's a 34-year-old rapper who was born on a military base in Germany and grew up in North Carolina. He's gone platinum on each of his albums, but has managed to stay out of the spotlight, especially compared to his contemporaries like Drake, for example. Now, one thing he's been out there with a little bit more is the topic of meditation. The hook in his song Friends is, quote unquote, "Don't medicate, meditate." And here's a line in the song. "One thing about your demons, they bound to catch up one day. I'd rather see you stand up and face them than run away. I understand this message is not the coolest to say, but if you down to try it, I know of a better way. Meditate." A friend of mine sent me an interview that J. Cole did last year, where he understates how much he knows about meditation, but in my opinion, he nails it. And I want to use what he says in that interview to get across 2 things in this episode. 1, meditation isn't about clearing your mind of thoughts. It's about changing how you relate to your thoughts, as well as your emotions, sounds, feelings in your body, etc. Whatever's happening right here, right now in this present moment. And 2, it's crucial to be easy on yourself when you practice meditation. And a pro tip, I send out a short email explaining things about meditation like this every week. You can sign up for it at jeremymoeller.blog/signup. Here's what he said in the interview.
Meditation, and I'm talking about it as if I do this all the time. I think people think that, like, because I've had somebody talk to me, they're like, oh, man, they think that, like, I'm a big...
Right. Like you meditated before this interview.
Yeah, I actually did.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but even that is misleading. I do it when I get a little anxiety. You know what I mean? Or a lot of anxiety. When there's, like, a stressful situation.
He really shouldn't downplay himself. It hints at a deep understanding of what meditation produces, mindfulness. He even correctly differentiates it from prayer.
Some people probably call that prayer.
That's a prayer. Like, I'm asking for, like, guidance and, like, help in that area. The meditation for me is more like being present. I'm not trying to think anything. I'm not praying about anything. I'm just still observing. So if my mind is racing, and it might be nerves, or it might be there's a bill due, or it might be this is happening in the family, I'm noticing it, and I'm trying to
let it go.
Let it go, but also not fight it. Bring my attention back to, like, my breathing, something that's currently happening, the sound of that fan. I just listen and try to, like, focus on that. And what you'll notice is, like, my mind will start going to something else. Like, oh, my mom said something on the phone, boom, boom, boom. And I'll start thinking about that. And I might go on a 30-second trip on that thought. And then I catch it like, oh, look what just happened. It's fine. Let me bring my attention back to that fan. Something that's, like, present moment. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like a slave to my thoughts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, and I feel like that's how I've been living my life.
Yeah.
Being like a slave to, like, my thoughts. And 98% of my thoughts ain't even my thoughts. It's something I seen on Twitter, heard on TV, something my mom told me when I was younger, something somebody else said me. So these thoughts are like fears and worries or like just ideas from other people. And it's like, that stuff is controlling me.
That's spot on, and it actually reminds me of a metaphor by a very practiced and wise teacher named Angel Kyodo Williams. She's a Zen Buddhist priest and the second black woman to be ordained in the Soto Zen tradition, which is a long-standing Zen Buddhist tradition coming out of Japan. She uses this metaphor to describe the human mind, and here's what she says. It's kind of like that drawer that collects everything in your house, where you say, oh, but wait a minute, someone lived in this house before me, and some of that stuff is not mine. Actually, this is not mine. That's my mom's. This is not mine. That's the inheritance of white supremacy. Or that's the inheritance of generations of oppression and marginalization that subjects me to habitually feeling less than, even if the current situation has no intent to make me feel that way. As I recently wrote in a post on my site, and you can find this under what being mindful really means and why you should try to be it, and as I explained right here on this podcast a few episodes ago, mindfulness can be boiled down to two things. One, being able to pay attention to what's happening right here, right now in the present moment. Most of the time, our mind is actually not in the present moment. It's thinking about things in the past or in the future. And two, this is more important, being aware of how you are relating to what's happening right here, right now. And the ways that we relate to what's happening depends on many things, but they're mostly shaped by trauma we've been through. So maybe you have a tendency to be in your head and forget about your body. If you're like me, you're like that. You try to figure out with your mind how to move through the world and solve your problems, which obviously is useful sometimes, but not always. Now, maybe you grab a beer or roll a joint when you're feeling restless. All of us are addicted to things at some level, whether it's a substance or just the feeling, the sensation of certainty, fullness, or variety. And so maybe your father subtly abused you emotionally when you were young. Nearly all parents do to some degree. And maybe the color of your skin is being used by those in power in our society to turn others against you. So we have all this trauma in our lives, some of it subtle, some of it very deep and acute. And short of healing that trauma through therapy and then fighting things like capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy to remove injustice from society, the best we can do is have compassion for ourselves, to take it easy on ourselves. And in the interview, J. Cole nails that.
If you catch yourself doing it again,
Yeah.
just enjoy the fact that you can even recognize
And
that
bring it
it's
back.
hard.
Okay.
Yeah, like, oh man, like this is hard for me. It's okay.
When someone who has made 5 top 10 hits says something like, "This is hard for me, it's okay," we really should listen. Before I let you go, I'm going to leave you with one thing you can start doing today to be more mindful. So when you catch yourself drifting off in thought, go easy on yourself. And I'm not talking about just in your meditation. I'm talking about throughout the day. Say you're talking to a friend or someone in your family and your mind starts to wander. Maybe you start to plan what you're going to have for dinner later on, or maybe you worry about what you said in a text message you sent last night to someone else. Just bring your attention back to what the person is saying. Maybe even focus in on the sounds of what they're saying, just to really hear them. But, and this is the key, don't beat yourself up inside of your mind for your wandering mind. That's totally normal. It's totally normal for our minds to wander, and then it's totally normal for many of us to beat ourselves up when we feel like we're not being present enough. And when we beat ourselves up, I should be paying attention more. I should be focused. Why am I always so scatterbrained? When we do that, we're just leaving the present moment yet again. We're kind of in this void, this timeless space. We're just beating ourselves up, this idea of ourselves, the way we should and shouldn't be. So go easy on yourself. And as J. Cole says, this is hard for me, and it's okay. So thank you. I deeply appreciate the time you put into listening to this. I'll see you next time. A few things before you get on with your day. Make sure you're subscribed to Meditation for the Masses on iTunes or whatever app you use for podcasts. That's so you won't miss an episode. If you want more from me, sign up for my weekly email on meditation at jeremymoeller.blog/signup. My website also has free recordings of guided meditations and when and where I teach meditation in person. I generally teach in the Washington, D.C. area, but hope to expand my reach in the near future. And finally, please rate this episode on whatever app you use to listen to it. You might not realize how important that is. I spent years loving podcasts like The Tim Ferriss Show and The Dig without ever actually rating them, even though their host would ask me to rate them on every episode. Ratings make podcast apps recommend meditation for the masses to folks looking for podcasts on meditation. So it's really important to me. I deeply appreciate you listening. Thank you.